Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Geeks by Gaslight Podcast special Endgame edition. This is a completely spoiler-filled review of Avengers Endgame. So if you have not seen the movie, don't watch this unless you don't care. I expect at least 10 I can't believe you spoiled this for me comments down below, so do not disappoint me.
Hopefully, that means we're getting comments.
Right? Actually, fuck. No, so I'm, of course, Carroll and Jre, and joining me is Dre Best.
Hey, I'm here. I also saw Endgame. We're the only part of the GBG crew to have seen it.
Yeah, we saw it. We saw it together. We went out Friday morning, to catch it pretty soon. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot to get to in Endgame because first things first, it's a mammoth of a fucking movie. It's 3 hours.
3 hours? Is it like 3 hours, 10 minutes, 3 hours? Or is it just like straight up 3 hours?
I don't know exactly. It's long. It is very long. And it's definitely the longest Marvel movie.
Yes,
which is... I mean, I was like making the meme that was like, you know what the Marvel Cinematic Universe needs to make their movies more like The Dark Knight Rises, but because that's like the only like other like 3 hour superhero movie I can like think of.
I was trying to think. I initially thought Logan was 3 hours, but it just like was just that heavy.
Yeah, yeah, that movie dragged in a good way. Yeah.
Oh, it's 3 hours and 1 whole minute.
Whoa. I was okay with 3 hours, but that extra minute, slow down, guys.
Yeah. It was... So, definitely... I don't think it's as long as the extended cut of Batman vs. Superman, actually.
That's very funny. I mean, obviously those two movies are parallels in every respect.
Yeah.
Big culminations of giant cinematic universes. One of them had 11, or one of them had 21 movies following it. The other one had 1. So
we all know the greater film to come out with, right?
Yeah, Batman.
Yeah,
Batman vs. Superman. But all right, enough dunking on DC.
Never get enough of that.
There will be such thing eventually as too much dunking on DC, but let's start off by talking about some of the because it is what it says in the title. It's the Endgame. It is the catharsis and the ultimate culmination of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Up to now, everything they've teased things, they've set things up, and this movie has a shitload of Easter eggs and references to lines and characters and plot points from older movies, and it balances them quite well. But let's talk for a little bit about sort of the what came before we get into this.
Yeah, the previous Avengers movies.
Yeah. So, I still think, I'm curious to see what I think in a little bit longer, because, like, I feel like, of most of the Marvel movies, I feel like the first Avengers has probably aged some of the worst. I still love it. And I know it hasn't even been that long. But like, even from the first Avengers to Age of Ultron, they feel very different.
They do.
Stylistically. I feel like that might be down to Joss Whedon having a little bit more creative control in the first one. So he was allowed to shoot things the way he wanted, put stuff in the movies that he wanted. But yeah, so I mean, the first Avengers was like basically that was also kind of a setup to now because of the Thanos connection. Thanos obviously the first time we ever saw him was at the end of Avengers.
Yeah,
All he
looking completely different. Clearly with you know, as post credit scenes in Marvel like tend to do, clearly with no solid plan of how they're going to get to this.
Yeah, yeah. At that point, I'm pretty sure they knew they wanted to do Thanos. Um, but the when and the how, because everyone thought, oh, Thanos is going to be the villain of the next one.
Yeah,
Um,
that's such a Avengers 2 Thanos. We're getting him.
yeah, but it was Ultron.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm a big fan of the first Avengers.
Me too.
I think I could comfortably put it. I like the Avengers films, and I think, to me, I'm a big fan of solid beginnings and solid endings. And I think pre
Yeah,
Avengers
fuck
used
all that shit in the middle. Actually, fuck. The movie doesn't need to end. Nothing needs to happen in between the movie that starts good and ends good. Fuck.
But you know what I mean. I like the sense of something important starting, and I like the finality of something ending. And I think while the first Avengers is like, like it can be weird at some points. It's very clear that it's like a TV director doing like a movie.
Yeah.
You can sense that. But
I didn't notice that on the first watching, but like going back and watching it now, I do feel that energy.
yeah,
It's very
but
charming.
yeah, I think so. But the way the grandeur it's given, the sense of importance, whereas Joss Whedon puts into his shots, when they feel more like cinematic, and also like, of course, the great dialogue. Avengers is like, it's such a, it's weird thinking of it as like the culmination of Phase 1, because in a lot of ways it is like the start of what we think of as an MCU movie.
Yeah, but like we didn't know that at the time.
We really didn't.
And,
Avengers
yeah,
can seem like kind of like almost like too basic when compared to other MCU movies, and it's like really like. But then you think about it, it's like, no, this is like where everything like came from. And it's really interesting.
yeah, it's because I feel like that's the good. Marvel did something well that a lot of other cinematic universe failed to do, which was not making the hook of the of this cinematic project being look at all these characters in the shared universe, right? Because like first we just had Iron Man. It was like, oh hey, Iron Man, that's a good movie. And then like they had Hulk, which is also still a good movie. Fight me, but then Tony Stark shows up at the end of that. You're like, oh shit, Iron Man's canon. And then they start peppering little world building stuff in. So it's like, oh, this is interesting. They're in the same universe. I wonder where they're going for that.
And namely, it took the biggest lesson. I feel from trying to bring comic book continuity into a movie. It's the special rule of continuity, which is talk about it when it helps. Don't worry about it when it doesn't. There's lots of stuff in Phase 1 movies that doesn't make sense anymore. But the fact is, it's not important, and it's like it's easily brushed off, and they don't spend. Even this movie, it doesn't go back and spend time trying to fix dumb little like continuity holes, or as some call it, plot holes. It doesn't waste your time like fiddling with that.
Yeah.
It just goes, we're in a universe we're building like a history, and if we don't like the history we made, we're just not going to talk about it. We're going to keep going on forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they have retconned something in the past with the Infinity Gauntlet in Odin's Treasure Vault.
Yeah.
which they've done a lot of stuff like that.
But they
But
haven't made like movies dedicated to it or anything.
they haven't made a movie dedicated to fixing the continuity yet.
Every other cinematic universe.
Oh, it'd be. God, remember the Dark Universe where they're like Dracula is going to kick off our shared cinematic universe, and then Dracula Untold kind of bombed, and they're like, "Oh, okay, that's not canon. Now the Mummy's going to kick off the great."
They should have just pressed forward.
Universe.
They should have just pressed forward with that Dracula movie.
Right? Actually,
you remember X-Men: Days of Future Past?
I remember it very well.
Remember?
Probably actually not as well as I think I remember it, though.
If you go back and watch that movie, so much of the stuff they spend doing like doesn't matter because it's just because so much of it is like weird continuity, like fixing, but it like doesn't matter and doesn't like amount to anything because they like the direction like changed.
Well, yeah, I mean the X-Men movies kind of don't give a shit about continuity, which I've always kind of admired. Even if most of the movies aren't, that great.
Mm-hmm.
But back to Endgame. Well, actually, before we get back to Endgame, let's talk a little bit about Age of Ultron. Because Age of Ultron is, I feel underrated.
Certainly the most divisive one.
Yeah, and it's honestly not even that divisive, which is like a nice to think of. It's like that's like pleasant that like people haven't,
It's not. There's Age of Ultron's so weird. My like feelings on it have shifted with every rewatch I do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gone, from when I first watched it where I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Not as good as the first Avengers. To rewatching it and really disliking it and rewatching it again and then, enjoying it more. Or to my most recent rewatch where I went, this is fine. It feels... There's so much about Age of Ultron that feels... it feels like kind of like this like awkward like middle step in the MCU where it's the end of the second phase. A lot has changed, and then we're just going to try and do Avengers again, but like more sloppy. Avengers Age of Ultron feels very sloppy.
I don't know. I mean, so I don't think the problem isn't Ultron.
It isn't.
Because as he is one of the more memorable MCU villains. He's not a defining villain like say Loki or Thanos.
Right. But it's not fair to give him like the typical MCU villain like stigma.
I know, because James Spader like really is like entertaining and fun with that.
Yeah. I might argue a little like too fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I feel like he was kind of like the right villain with the wrong grand master plan.
It was that his plan. His plan. Well, his plan is something that I could see Ultron doing, but the way they explain it and the motivations they give him feel very weird to me. Because at the core of this character, Ultron's a very simple like villain. He's a robot. He thinks robots are better than humans. He wants to kill all humans. That's fine. That makes sense. But instead of like focusing on that, they make it about like almost like weirdly like pseudo like religious. I feel with his like I want to restart the Earth and everything. It's like if he just said I want to bring up Sokovia and make an asteroid and wipe out humans and the Earth the Earth will belong to the synth droids I'm making and like Vision.
Yeah.
That would, I feel like that would, people wouldn't be as like turned off by the plan, but just like how it's communicated, it's like weird.
Yeah. Um, I mean, a lot of things, important shit did happen in that movie. And so I feel like it gets a little bit too heavy. But let's move on to Infinity War, which was definitely I feel like in the top 5 MCU movies. It's real good.
It is. It's. So you're gonna hear me say these words a lot, and that's because like it's true. The Infinity War and Endgame are not just movies, and they know it. They are events within the pop culture, and they are just as willing to like be a part of that.
Yeah.
And that's Infinity War is kind of almost inseparable from like the hype, the circumstance, the importance of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I as a piece of like as this big event movie that knows it's an event movie, I think it does such a good job.
Yeah. It's because it's such an important piece of sort of like modern culture right now to us. Um, it it's just kind of funny to think about when you phrase it like that. But yeah, yeah. I mean, it it brought up a lot of it brought in all the characters that that you've gotten to know over like the past like whatever like 10 years it had been at that point.
Yeah,
Um, it had you had your Thors and your Iron Mans
Guardians.
and I was gonna say, but then like your Guardians of the Galaxy, but you also had some of like the newer characters people were getting introduced to, like your Doctor Stranges or your Black Panthers, um, and kind of like throwing them against the wall.
But fuck your Ant-Mans and Hawk guys.
Oh, actually,
We don't we don't want those in this movie. Not important
well,
enough.
it's because they had so much shit to do. Like,
It,
I totally understand why they weren't
oh yeah,
in that now, because like they're
they got their screen time. We'll
they
talk about
really
that in
did.
the recap. Um, yeah, Infinity War, and it's I wouldn't want every superhero movie to be like this, obviously,
Oh
but it
no.
it
Infinity
it
War is only Infinity War because it's Infinity War.
exactly. But it's a fun ride that also wants to have that also has some substance to it. Where it's like this big cat, cast of hundreds, like basically like space opera, and it's incredible for that. Josh Brolin really is doing his damnedest to, you know, make Thanos this character that we've only seen in post-credit scenes and small little scenes. It was almost kind of a joke at like that point because we'd just seen him sitting in a chair for
We saw him sitting in a
so
chair, picking up a glove and smiling.
yeah, and he's like, I need to get this character over as the biggest threat ever, the scariest guy ever. In a lot of ways, Thanos commanded the aura that I wanted Ultron to have, just a little more scary. But he one of the best MCU villains,
I'd say
clearly.
he's, I'd say Thanos is the best. Like at this point, I feel like there is competition, um, but no, I honestly can't see anyone
Can't
taking that top spot.
I he's certainly up there. I still I still prefer Killmonger a lot.
Yeah, Killmonger is. Oh God, fuck! I forgot about him. No, Killmonger. It's yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I still. I might even have to give it to Thanos. Even I know that's like it's like apples and oranges. It's kind of hard to compare those two.
Right.
Jesus Christ. God, Black Panther's good. I need to watch that again.
It's very good.
Black Panther's like the best one.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, man. And the ending of Infinity War is cinematic history.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's like that's such a I don't think I realized how big of like a cinematic and pop culture moment the snap is. You know,
It is.
when I first saw it.
I
Because
remember. I thought I saw. I kind of thought, oh, they halfway through the movie, I thought the snap's coming at the end because I was waiting during Infinity War. I'm like, is he going to snap like halfway through the movie? Then he just doesn't snapping. I was like, oh, we're getting this at the end. But then when it happened, it felt so terrifying and alien.
yeah. Yeah, the scene was so powerful because they didn't have any music.
No music. The fading away effect is so good.
Yeah, yeah, like the actual dusting.
Yeah.
No, that's such like an iconic thing now. The turning to dust.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an effect that like movies have used before. A bunch of times. Like if you ever, it's funny to think about it. But if you watch the last Harry Potter movie, Voldemort dies basically by getting snapped by Thanos. he turns into like the same like flakes.
Yeah.
But no, it's like so big because right now if you Google Thanos, his name Thanos right now in the top corner of the Google search bar or like in the Google search area, there's just like a little Infinity Gauntlet, and if you click it, the Infinity Gauntlet snaps, and then half of the search results disappear.
Oh, if you wait there, eventually, I think all of them will.
Wait, really?
Yeah. If you, I waited on it, and it just like they kept disappearing, and I was like, oh, there are less than half on this.
Well, like on like the page, but I thought it was like half, like all the search results.
Oh well, then maybe I just got like a weird draw, and I got like my entire front page was snapped.
Yeah, it's very fun. It's very funny. But no, it's like the way I guess like the best way I could like put it is like what if at the end it's like if at the end of The Empire Strikes Back, if Han Solo, Leia, Yoda, and C-3PO and they all just like died at the end, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Right? You're just like, what the fuck?
It's so
yeah, it's just
and the power of just leaving it like that and come back next year.
Yeah, it's definitely yeah, it's one of the best cliffhanger endings in cinematic history.
Yeah. Children, your characters are dead. Come back next year. I guess watch Ant-Man and Captain Marvel. But at the end of Ant-Man, half the people die.
Except for that ant. That ant's still epic.
I was really waiting for that to be an Endgame. I thought the ant was going to show up.
Oh, maybe he was in the big final battle.
I guess ants don't have a very long lifespan, huh?
Oh, he's still alive in my heart.
Yeah. But yeah, so quick, give your ranking of the Avengers movies before Endgame.
Oh, fuck. Age of Ultron, Avengers, Infinity War.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is very close between Infinity War and
Avengers.
And Avengers, yeah.
I'm going to go with Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and then Avengers, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I completely respect that.
They're both such great. The trilogy itself, the Avengers movies are weird and flawed, but their good points are so good, but you just kind of it's hard to hate them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah. So now getting into the big one. Avengers Endgame is here. And the movie starts very, very sad and like very sadly. That's not a word, is it? Is sadly a word? Fuck.
No, but yeah, man, no music.
No music, just like Hawkeye, just hanging out with his family.
Our theater didn't have like you know, on most theaters when the movie's set to start, that's when the ads start.
Mm-hmm.
Ours theater just was playing ads before, and then when the movie started, it was just into it. No, no upselling, no anything. Just kind of here's the movie. So, and that really helped with this kind of beginning.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of. It's funny to think about how a lot of theaters actually ran like hype packages in front of the movie.
Yeah.
Like it was a fucking wrestling match. But I like that in concept, but it was very nice to just sort of like jump right into the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Hawkeye's family, he's teaching his daughter, who is not Kate Bishop. We all thought it was. It's not.
She ain't, which is good. Just teaching her some archery, just shooting some, arrows.
He'll be his dad. They show his little house arrest ankle bracelet because he can't leave his property, without pissing off the FBI. But then he just kind of like turns around, and there's like the fucked up part about it is like you think about this, he doesn't even get to see them go.
Yeah.
Like that's like really powerful.
He just looks at his family. Then he looks at where his daughter was. She's gone. Then he looks back at his family. They're gone. And everything is gone. You know what hit me about this scene?
What? That
even though, he's retired or hired and everything, during the events of Infinity War, none of the Avengers thought to inform him, hey, there's something going down, at least. No one just thought to, like, inform him that, maybe there could be some danger coming your way since you're, a former Avenger. Nothing?
I guess.
Not a phone call?
Well, I don't think a lot of them he wouldn't be allowed to contact.
I guess so.
Because he's under house arrest.
I guess that's true. It was just something I thought about. I'm like, no one's...
Yeah.
Clint's really out of the loop. He really is, like, living out in nowhere.
Well, he's retired.
Yeah.
Until he wasn't, and then he was again. God, Hawkeye retiring is a thing.
He's retired again by the end of this movie, I guess.
Probably.
Man really just doesn't want to fucking work.
Man.
But
if I got to come home to Linda Cardellini every night, then yeah, I'd want to stay home too.
So, then we jump forward and cut a very big tonal shift. A very shifting tone at the start because we cut to Tony Stark and Nebula, and it should be a really you would expect like a really somber scene from what we saw from the trailers and like the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're just
like, to chill and playing paper football.
Yeah, and it was like funny. You get to see them interact. It's like weird that these characters, wouldn't expect these characters to pair off well, but they do. And
yeah, no, and they do well with Nebula because obviously Nebula having been Thanos to as a sort of rival to Gamora, she's hyper competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And the sort of like importance that she places on just like winning like even like a small game is like it's like good character writing, which has always been a very strong, like a big strength of these movies.
Yeah. And then we go into like the speech you heard in the first trailer of Endgame. And you get real serious real quick. And it's a great speech. Downey does his brings out his A game.
Yeah. And obviously a bunch of like little references. When I drift away, I will think about you. It's always you. That's actually a callback reference to the scene in Iron Man 2 when he named Pepper the CEO of Stark Industries, because he was like he's like, it's you. It's always been you.
Yeah.
That was a little reference to that scene that I didn't get when I first heard it, but it's an interesting little it's
Like,
there's it's a nice callback. There's so fucking many of them in this movie.
And then our newest like member of this universe, Carol Danvers, comes in. Deus Ex Carol comes and
Deus Ex me.
And then we come and next scene is like it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I was actually before we move on, I was actually really surprised because I thought he was going to be stuck in space for like longer than less than 5 minutes.
Me too.
A lot of us were mad that like, okay, so we see Tony stranded in space in the first trailer, and then they spoiled that in the that he gets, obviously we knew he would get back just like based on like deductive reasoning, but like they spoiled it in like the very next trailer. But now that we know that happens like real quick,
yeah,
we were mad about nothing.
And it's so you start, one thing that's kind of like start to like impress upon me is like, man, this is like, we're kind of moving fast, like even though, and that kind of keeps going for like the first like 20 minutes of the movie. Everything's very fast. The editing's very airy, snappy. And feels way more like that, like quick than a typical Marvel movie. Because next movie we see Carol, they're coming down. She's carrying the ship. Tony and Nebula are in to Avengers base. The Avengers come out, and then Tony's just like back in the Avengers like facility.
Yeah, interesting. First time Tony and Steve have seen each other since the end of Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And
Carol already knows the Avengers at this point.
Yeah, because due to the I thought going into the post-credit scene from Captain Marvel was going to be just dead like an Endgame scene, but it wasn't. It was just, it happened like separately.
Yeah.
Which took it took me a minute to figure that out. But I like it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was shot as a scene for Endgame, but then they decided they didn't need it. If they just made it a post-credit scene.
So like the scene where Tony's like back.
Oh,
whoa! It's real brutal. It's clear that Tony's like, Tony's a character who's been dealing with the anxiety of Thanos is coming since the first Avengers, and then being beaten, having Peter and Doctor Strange and everyone die on his watch. Infinity War.
It really affected him. And because he's been drifting in space for a long time, he's super malnourished. There's like a lot of I couldn't tell if it was like visual effects or makeup. But he
really looks,
because he really looks just like fucked up.
Yeah.
He's pale. He's clearly in not in the best shape of Iron Man's life.
Which is saying like he's not really usually in good shape.
No, I think he's always been in surprisingly good shape. Like you wouldn't think that he's not like a Thor or a Captain America, but like if you go back to look at some of those movies, he's fucking cut, dude.
Like, yeah, but he's always, like he looked better when he had like shrapnel in his chest, slowly trying to kill him. A lot of the time, like this is probably it's probably the worst we've seen him. Yeah.
In this movie?
No, I'd say like in period, he looks fucking like drained.
Yeah.
Like and then he gets really upset. He yells at Cap, kind of just not partly because like Civil War, but it's just kind of like everything building up.
Yeah, because it's so interesting that like they set up foreshadowing in Age of Ultron so well with the line, he's like, because there was the bit when after Ultron where he said that he had the idea of like a suit of armor around the world.
Yep.
And
he brings that up during
he brings that up, and he's like, what if we lose? And it's like what happens if we don't have that? He's like, we'll fight. And Steve's like, what if we lose? And he said, and Steve says, we'll do that together too. And like, boy, did they!
Yeah, they really did lose, but they didn't lose together, which I think is a part of his like frustration as well.
Mm-hmm.
That they've been so separated, and after all that, he just collapses.
Yeah. And so at this point, the Avengers decide, all right, it's time. Now that because Nebula's there, they now know where Thanos actually physically is. On a place called the Garden, which is again continuing the sort of some of the religious allegories of Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
From Infinity War.
Yeah,
and it does and like I feel like this is like because like religious allegories in superhero movies have been done. I say Zack Snyder is like sweating in the corner, but they did it really well here because it was basically Thanos become a god, right? Yeah. And so retiring to a garden has a bunch of significance in that respect,
right?
But when they all decide to get in the space caravan and head off to bring the fight to Thanos, it's not at all what you expect.
Yeah, and it's it's made very clear through like the way everything's communicated, how fast everything's going, that this is not a good idea. That they're kind of running up half-cocked, trying to get revenge. Everyone's trying to make decisions way too quickly, and it's like clearly like not. It's just not a very well thought out like plan they have.
Yeah, I mean you can tell because Captain America broke his lifelong rule of never swear.
Exactly.
So let's go get this son of a bitch. Clearly, he's thinking with his heart, not his head. Otherwise, he wouldn't utter those foul, dirty words.
And we're going there, and it's like, man, we're going. Avengers are going to fight Thanos within like the first like 15 minutes of the movie.
Fight was too strong a word.
Yeah, we cut to Thanos. He's walking around. Half his like body is burned to shit.
Yeah, he's missing an arm, and there's actually an interesting cinematic reference to the shot where he's like kind of just like walking through, letting his hand sort of ride through the crops. That's a reference to Gladiator.
Oh.
Because there's like some parallels of between Maximus and Thanos.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So Thanos is just kind of like chilling in his like hut, feeling self-satisfied.
Yeah, his smug little bachelor pad.
And then the Avengers basically like they all jump him in a very like brutal, not Avengers feeling way.
Yeah, no,
they come off very like
they use like World of Warcraft raid tactics. They're like they circle them. They got ganked them real.
They feel kind of like villains. At that point.
That sort of continues on from like the theme of Thanos, that version of Thanos, this timeline's Thanos being the overarching protagonist.
Yeah, and the Avengers are like, where are the stones? Where'd you give the stones? And he's like, sorry to say, but that big energy surge you guys detected like 2 days ago, which is how they found the planet, and it along with Nebula. That was me destroying the stones. They no longer exist in this universe.
Yeah, which is I mean,
Not good news.
it makes sense why he would do that, right?
Yeah, no one can undo his work.
Yeah, no one can undo his work, and he feels pretty satisfied with his job.
And
I
then
mean, I would keep him around for like, because Lord knows, he's gonna be. He seems like he's not getting super old anytime soon. Might need to call the population again someday, but mission accomplished. He's a retired old man now.
Yep. And Thor, all full of piss and vinegar and just rage, cuts off his arm, cuts off his head.
Yeah,
Thanos is dead. Head, boom, bang, bop. Thanos is dead within the first hour of the movie.
No, he's short of that. He is dead within the first, like the first 15, 20 minutes.
It
was very shocking.
No, I didn't see that coming. I mean, when I first saw like this whole thing, I thought, oh, what we're going to do is we're going to go, because we knew time travel was going to be a part of this movie. I thought we were going to go back and to like the first like 20 minutes of this movie and like fix things. Like we're going to be going back through history and correcting things and correcting things and correcting things, and then we're going to be at like the first act of the movie where Tony's like just gets back. Heck, I thought it was going to be like that, some kind of time movement we're going to do right that time, but like no.
they're gonna go back in time to stack the deck in their favor for the.
Yeah, no, not that at all.
No.
And then, 5 years later.
5 years later, boom. Captain America is going to like a kind of like almost like
we survived the snap.
Yeah, almost kind of like those veterans affairs meetings. They have, which is appropriate for Captain America. Little cameo by
also the kind of stuff that Falcon used to do.
Yeah, exactly. There's a cameo by I don't remember if it was Anthony or.
Pretty sure it was Anthony.
Yeah, but fun fact, his daughter was the Hawkeye was Hawkeye's oldest daughter that was shooting the arrow.
Those aren't Hawkeye's real kids?
No, there's the Hawkeye's not real.
And yeah, we see Cap's helping people through the trauma. We see Black Widow kind of dealing with like a council station with like Rocket, War Machine, Carroll. Who else was a part of that? Okoye, and they're all kind of dealing with like they're just kind of being like they're still being like the Avengers, but it's like not really like superhero work and more just like we're like the only thing kind of keeping like law and order.
Yeah.
And we have some good dialogue scenes with Black Widow. Kind of, it's clear that she's like at the end of her rope. This is all weighing down on her heavy, that she's like lost everything after she's gained so much. She has a conversation with Steve, which is real great stuff. All the acting in this movie is just so well done, particularly from like the original Avengers.
Yeah. Speaking of original Avengers, they did some things with Thor.
You're getting way ahead.
I don't care. This is really important. So Thor probably took the loss of all of the people he took the effects of the snap the most personally.
Yeah.
Because let's think about this for a minute. Thor in Thor Ragnarok, he lost probably more than half of his people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well more than half of his people were killed by Hela. Then half of them were killed by Thanos at the beginning of Infinity War, and then half of them were killed in the snap. So he's got about less than an eighth of his people left.
Yep. And he's taking it real hard. He blames himself for the snaps, and he didn't kill Thanos. Yeah. He had the shot.
He didn't go for the head.
Didn't go for the head. And he just kind of it's clear he has some kind of form of PTSD. He's drunk all the time.
Yeah, he's constantly drinking. It's funny to think that I always, because Thor was always a pretty famous drinker back in Asgard. But this is
way sadder.
It has a lot of sad connotations to it. But he's drunk. He's just kind of living in a shack. He's got a major beer belly, which was
major
really,
beer gut.
Beer gut. His sort of more
starting
saggy.
To look more like Odin. Yes, he's starting to look more like Odin.
No, that was more like I feel like at one point he was even called Lebowski because he looked like the dude.
Yeah, looked entirely like the dude,
which was very, very strange, but also kind of funny because there'd be shots of the whole cast being sad and somber about
the loss
about the loss, and then it's in the background, but it's Thor just chilling. With a big fat gut and sunglasses indoors. It's it's really funny.
When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh no!" But they make it work. They give him. He's not just a big dumb joke. Oh, they play. They play his situation. For comedy, but also it's taken seriously.
Yeah. He's crashing with Korg and Meek.
He's not crashing. They're crashing with them.
Yeah, they're crashing with him. Apparently they all play Fortnite together.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. So yeah, there was a Fortnite joke, which raises a lot of questions about the Thanos event. I like to believe it still happened. It just had a much darker connotation to it.
But we got to get back to why we visit Thor and what's going on to bring all the Avengers back. We need to go. The most important hero in the MCU. Who? The guy.
The Rat.
Huh? You stupid bastard.
The Rat that saved Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. Scott Lang. The hero of this fucking movie.
EB.
Last time we saw him, Ant-Man Wasp, he was trapped in the microverse. He had the worst luck ever. There wasn't a single damn person who could hit up one button to bring him back. He comes back because of a rat, and he doesn't know anything. And I really liked this scene of him walking around fresh eyes in this post-snapped world.
Yeah, he finds a kid, and he just asks the kid what the hell happened, and the kid just doesn't even give him the time of day, which you wouldn't if in that situation, right?
Yeah, and
he goes to because he's in San Francisco, which is where Ant-Man lives.
Mm-hmm. And he finds this big I really like this.
The monument
to all the people who got snapped.
Right. Remind me of a war memorial.
Yeah. And it's they would have this,
mm-hmm.
And he's looking, and then he sees, he starts piecing it together.
He's trying to find his daughter.
Right.
But so he's searching in the L category for Lang. And he doesn't find Cassie.
He finds himself.
Yeah, because they, of course, because he disappeared right at the time the snap happened. They all assumed that he got taken, but he didn't.
Yep. He goes and finds his old house, which, it's a miracle. They didn't move. And Cassie's there, 5 years older.
Okay, so it says 5 years older, but she aged like fucking. It's so hard to think about this.
I think Cassie had just started school. It seemed like she had just started school by Ant-Man and the Wasp.
No, and she looked like she was in high school.
Fine, whatever. We want to do things with Cassie Lang. We want stature in the universe.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So Scott has not been in the quantum realm for 5 years. He's been in the quantum realm for 5 hours.
Yep. Which was real. He starts getting the idea when he's finally he's down. That's he gets this idea that maybe we can time travel, and so he goes to the Avengers.
Yeah. Which is it's very interesting when you think about it, because of how long Janet spent in the quantum realm, and she aged. But maybe it didn't feel as long to her.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Or maybe she just wasn't maybe she was in a different realm of the universe. I'm really curious as to why she would age. It seems like normally in the quantum realm.
Well, as far as we know, Scott Lang did age normally. Doesn't fucking age.
Yeah, we are.
he fucking, you don't know that, but it says that it's 5 hours, but he actually aged 50 years. He would never
really
fucking
doesn't
know.
look. It really doesn't look. I remember I was like, man, how old is he? He's 50.
Yeah, he looks the fucking same as he did in
he's 20.
Yeah, he looks the same as he did in 96, and it's wild.
Yeah. It's fucked up. And so he gives this the pitch to is it just Stephen Widow? Steven?
Maybe, yeah. I think maybe Rocket was there.
Yeah. And so their thought process is let's go to the smartest guy we know. Quantum physics. Well, we have a scientist, so let's go to the scientist. Go to Tony. Tony's living off the grid. Seems.
Yeah. He's living off the grid. He has a daughter now. With Pepper.
Yeah.
Morgan, which was obviously alluded to in Infinity War.
They say 5 she's 5, but she would have to be 4, right?
Well, no, she's 4 years old, maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they say she's 5 years old, but I'm it takes 9 months to have a kid.
I mean, maybe Pepper was already pregnant.
Guess. I guess so. They have and it's real cute relationship. Yeah, that he has with his kid. It's cool seeing Tony in this fatherly role.
Mm-hmm. He's better at it than you'd think he would be.
Yeah. And then the Avengers show up, and it's every Arnold Schwarzenegger and Stallone action movie from the 90s. Where they're we need you. And he's I'm out. And it's no, we need you.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm out of the game.
And he basically says, I don't know how to fucking time travel. I've never done that before. I don't work PIM particles. What was that? Because this could kill us. Yes, and we have this big argument. She's I like seeing you guys. We buried the beef, but I'm not doing this. Mm-hmm. They leave. They leave, and they go, well, I guess we have another smart guy And since all scientific fields are the same, he should probably know what to do with it. Cut to Bruce Hulker?
Bruce Banner, Hulk. Basically, after the whole Hulk the whole sort of incident of not being able to access the Hulk because the Hulk didn't want to come out. Basically, he said that he spent some time in 18 months in a gamma lab when he was working on his condition. And so Bruce Banner and the Hulk have merged consciousnesses. So Banner has the Hulk's body, but it's just Mark Ruffalo's voice, which is very funny.
And Mark Ruffalo, basically just Mark Ruffalo. It's Big Green Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah,
I don't even think he has like the brow. Not really a pronounced brow or anything. It's just like Mark Ruffalo, but green. I went and saw looked at a picture of Mark Ruffalo afterwards, and I was like, "This is weird. He's not green."
It'd be.
It's
Mark Ruffalo not being green is very all the time.
But he's happy. He's happier than we've ever seen Bruce Banner before.
Which is like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, I suppose it does make sense that he and Nat wouldn't have been able to get back together.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah, because remember she did push him off that ledge that one time.
And we do have that we have that GIF. We have that GIF. We know what happens.
No, we're not talking about the GIF. Trust me.
Just look up Hulk, Black Widow, Avengers GIF. Turn your Google image
search off.
and then go to type animated, and yeah, have yourself a good old while.
Don't say we didn't warn you. If you know what GIF we're talking about, then I pity you. But
basically, Hulk says, "I'll try." He try. He says he'll try. He'll make it work. Or kids come up to him. He makes a dab joke. They make a joke about how Ant-Man sucks. The movie has a couple problems, but we'll look past them.
Hey.
We go back to Tony, who's kind of he's a workaholic. He gets something in his brain and he can't get it out. Right? It's been a very consistent part of him.
I think it was interesting. I think a part of him had been working on this before they showed up.
It's possible. I think. It felt. He solves time travel, and it seems. It doesn't seem like an evening. It seems like within an hour.
No, he for the entirety of he solved time travel. Took Korg to finish his game of Fortnite.
It's it's ridiculous. It's really it's real funny.
I mean, they don't really make a deal out of it, but
they don't.
But it is quite an impressive start.
And he after he puts to bed his kid, he's like, Pepper, I don't know if I should do this. Pepper's like,
which is and Pepper encourages him to try, which is interesting because that's the opposite of their dynamic.
Yep.
When Tony's been like, I have these things I need to do, I can't stop, and she's like, but you need to stop and be being a normal healthy person,
right?
And be with me, I can help you. But this time he's like, I really just don't want any part of this. I want to be a normal healthy person. And she's like, yeah, kind of can't on this one. Sorry.
And also no, you don't, because you did do it. You solved it. You figured out time travel, dude.
Yeah.
You clearly do want to help save people in some way.
Yeah.
And it's it's a cool scene.
Yeah. So Tony decides to head over to the Avengers headquarters to sort of share his findings with Bruce. After, because they're struggling. They really
really
are. They turned Ant-Man into a baby, and then into an old, and then back into Ant-Man.
But it was clearly like different people, right? Because like baby
No,
Paul
yeah.
Rudd just like looks like Paul Rudd. It's weird that he like looked different, you know?
Mm. Oh
Um,
yeah. That's fucked up that they age like Paul Rudd to like look any different though.
yeah,
Fuck, movie bad.
actually. Um, Tony, uh, Tony meets Steve out in the front. Tony be like, "I'm in.
And they have
But this is my last ride.
This is my last ride. After this, I'm done, and don't you ask me for a damn thing."
They won't, Tony. And then Tony, he pulls out from the trunk of his car, capsule shield.
And then
Would you?
ba 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 ba.
And it's great. And it's great. It's great. It's fun. I guess he repainted it.
No, he dinged out the scratch, the Black Panther scratch.
Yeah.
I actually kind of liked that scratch. I feel like it'd be cool if they kept it.
Yeah, but you want to see that in its full pristine. Don't worry. Damage to the shield is coming.
Oh.
I
mean, as was prophesized in
Infinity Gauntlet.
in Infinity Gauntlet, but also in Age of Ultron.
Oh yeah.
There's the in Tony's little
like nightmare
fucked up,
scene.
like a nightmare scene. He saw like the shield being broken.
Mm-hmm. So basically, this is kind of where we enter her. They're gathering the team back together. They go to New Asgard, which is in
Norway.
Fitting.
Valkyrie is managing things while Thor's having his breakdown. They pick up Thor. It's sort of like a Blues Brothers style. We got to get the band back together. Montage when Black Widow goes to find Hawkeye, who is
being Ronin.
Being Ronin. He's beating up Japanese dudes with samurai swords.
So we never get a peek. We see him like take off a mask, but we never actually see the front of that mask.
Yeah, it's sort of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, but
it's a dope costume though.
Yeah, cool costume, cool fight scene.
Yeah, cool fight scene. I mean, I was always more of a fan of his Age of Ultron look.
Thought that was nice.
Yeah, with the coat.
Yeah.
No, but this is a good close second. In terms of Hawkeye, it's very different. So they pick him up. They take him and the others back.
Nebula and Rocket come back.
Yeah, they're going. They come in, and so they, experimenting, basically using Pym particles to shrink everyone down into the microverse, and then back out. They can, slip to different parts of the time stream. And they put together a plan. And the plan is for them all to separate into different parts of the MCU timeline.
The MCU timeline as different groups. We are doing a clip show, and we're all going to send a bunch of fun characters out to grab the stones.
In like the middle of like old movies, which was like, this is okay. I'll get it. This was the most fan servicey part.
Yeah. And it
fucking worked.
Right. So there's there's some most of this is just kind of they're fun scenes. There's definitely plot progression, but this chunk is mostly there to have a bunch of fun in the past.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part of the out of all the jumping back into the past and into other movies?
I mean, like a highlight was the Captain America versus Captain America. I loved Rhodey fucking like clotheslining Star-Lord in the head.
Yep.
In the middle of his iconic dance song and dance number from the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy.
We went to Thor: The Dark World, which was didn't expect.
Yeah.
But it was really like neat.
Yeah.
And
They actually gave Rene Russo lines this time.
She's nice.
Yeah. We get to see how cool she is.
That was one of my favorite parts. Because that was, Thor. Thor, who at this point in the movie, he's like mostly a joke. Oh, like they take, he has he's had his moments, but it's at this point he's with Rocket. Mm-hmm. It's just them trying to get the red one.
Mm-hmm. So basically, if you ever wanted to see Thor, Odin's son, King of Asgard, God of Thunder, have a stress-induced panic attack.
Yeah, and it's him talking about all his failures over like the last movies and how he's like very just all very afraid that he's never like had like a feeling like this, and it's like really it's really interesting. It's good summation. Thor really has had a fucking hard like time.
Yeah, he's had a rough go of it since Ragnarok,
Dark World, really. Dark World is like the start of his like life falling apart.
Well, I mean, things weren't too bad for him in Age of Ultron.
Like things weren't too bad, and then Dark World, like, oh yeah.
Dark World was before Ultron.
I did forget that, but it's like his mom died here.
Yeah, his mom died, and they have a sort of because like this is the day that so he gets to have a conversation with her.
Where she assures him.
She recognizes her like, oh hey, you're my son, but you're like clearly not like from now. And so she gives him a little pep talk, gives him spirits up, which sort of helps. He's not fully back, but in a small way, sort of reignites the fire that he had. And it was so, and like, because this was just like clever writing, because she was the perfect person to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, go ahead.
Meanwhile, Rocket is attacking Natalie Portman.
No, I know.
With a big prong to pull out the reality stone.
Oh man, yeah. Props for Natalie Portman for getting high billing on this movie with like one scene. They name drop her and like reference her. I'm glad to see that she's at least on like speaking terms with Marvel. So that if they do more Thor things, there's at least the chance that we could see her again.
Yeah. And before they leave at Asgard, because like they're one of the first ones to succeed. I think they might be even the first.
Oh yeah, they prod Natalie Portman with a little stick thing, and so Rocket is getting chased out by some the Asgardian military that has a name that I still can't pronounce and I won't try. But so they fuck off, and like before they go back, they have the this is I feel like an underrated one of the best parts of the movie to me is just like the brief moment when Thor realizes, hey, wait a second. He holds out his hand and he calls Mjolnir to him one last time, which was like so cool to see that, and his actual shock and like
I'm still worthy.
Jubilation as realizing that he is still worthy to hold Mjolnir was really like,
really great scene.
Yeah, really great.
Then also screws over the Thor of this like timeline real bad.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
but fuck that. It's not ours.
I mean, they fixed it by the end.
Oh, I guess so. I mean, like they didn't bring back like the old hammer.
Yeah, yeah, they did.
Did they?
No, they brought the hammer with them, but then when Steve
oh yeah, he does take the yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But no, it's funny to think about Mjolnir just disappearing in the middle of Thor: The Dark World. You know what I kind of want now? I kind of want to see versions of these movies where that this happened.
The what if series, man.
No, but like full ones. I mean, like that. Like
No, you don't.
just okay. Remake Guardians of the Galaxy, The Avengers, and Thor: The Dark World, but with the changes. It'd be so good.
Sure.
It'd be so good.
Send that mail to fucking Kevin Feige. He'll be. I'm sure he'll get back to you. He'll be like, yeah, next on the slate, dude.
Oh my god, that'd be such a fucking like big dick energy if Kevin Feige on his fucking movie slate was just like, hey, you remember Thor: The Dark World?
I think, yeah.
We're doing Thor: The Dark World again.
So I think my favorite part of the entire of like the movie flashbacks, I think it was so hard to pick. I think it's probably the Avengers, like section. Specifically, I really liked the interplay between Tony and Scott, along with Steve on the comm. I think that was just a really good like very fun moment. We got to see a bunch of like just seeing everything that happened like right after the Avengers was real interesting.
Oh yeah, and like, man, this is so wild. The way Captain America pilfers the
Tesseract.
no, not the Tesseract, the Soul Stone. Or no, the Mind Stone, sorry. The way he steals the Mind Stone is fucking great.
It's so
it serves as both a callback to the Winter Soldier, and a nod to comics that may or may not have been extremely controversial in their day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny. It's so good.
Yeah, so basically like the evil goons from Winter Soldier, Crossbones and all them.
Yeah, basically the Captain America's, strike force from Winter Soldier. It's sort of like the team's like covert ops unit he was on.
Yeah, they all come in at right. You know the shot in Avengers where where Loki wakes up and the Avengers are all posing in front of him.
Yeah, not the big sweeping shot. The one, although we do get that to see that again.
Yeah,
but no, the one where that's like at the end when like I think it was like it might have been Black Widow holding the scepter, and he's like, "It's all the same to you. I think I'll have that drink now."
Yeah.
And like at one point, past Tony says, "Let's stop posing here for a bit," and get it, which is like really funny. It's very kind of like self-referential.
Yeah. So their whole like hike squad shows up and goes like, "Hey, yeah, cool Adventures movie you guys had here. Yeah, we're Winter Soldier, and we're gonna it's time to stop the fun. Confiscate the stuff for taking it." And the Avengers, there's like tension and friction there. And Steve, Loki's scepter goes with the Goon Squad.
Yeah,
Steve goes with them.
Yeah, he steps in the elevator.
And it's a total callback to the famous elevator scene from Winter Soldier.
Yeah, like I actually thought he was gonna say before we get started, "Does anyone want to get out?"
Yeah, but
instead, he's like,
and the way they do this, they're recreating all the shots from that elevator scene too.
Like the little the twitching finger, the sweat.
It's so good, and then Cap just leans over to
well, first he goes and he's I've been given orders from Fury to take the Mind Stone, Mind Stone, the scepter, and so and he's like, "Are you sure about that? Because Hydra needs that for all their experiments, to create Scarlet Witch in them."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I've been given special orders." Dre, do you care to do the honors?
Leans over and goes, "Hail Hydra," and it's so good.
I popped so hard for that.
And we all popped, and they just give it to him. Hydra Cap. Hydra Cap. That's all I can say. As a huge Secret Empire fan, Hydra Cap.
Oh,
We got it. It's awesome.
It's so good. Captain
Um,
America leaning in and just saying the little "Hail Hydra" to Sitwell is so funny.
yeah, probably my favorite part of the flashback.
Yeah.
But no,
I mean, it's a small grace period because we get Captain America's just trying to take and meanwhile on the lower floor, um, Ant-Man and Iron Man have failed to capture the the Tesseract because of various reasons, but like fun little cameo from my favorite part was or not my favorite part of the whole thing, but like my favorite part of this scene was they got Robert Redford back.
Yeah, from Winter Soldier.
From Winter Soldier, Alexander Pierce, obviously, and he's sort of like the like the big secretary, whatever the fucking Shield. And so and so Robert Redford, he's like, actually, I'll be taking that. I have jurisdiction over this, over this area because at this point the Avengers is still a Shield subdivision. So yeah, it was really nice to see Robert Redford back, and one of my favorite parts is the bit because like in like the scuffle, the Tesseract kind of falls out. It just slides in front of Loki's feet, and he's got like the little gag thing on. And he just picks it up and just warps out.
I think that might actually be the setup for that Loki show.
Oh, maybe I love Loki just like the or like the space stone and just legging it.
Yep.
Like I don't need any part of this.
Yep, it was real good. Tom Hiddleston once again, and tries to be the most memorable fucking thing in a movie where he's dead.
Oh, yeah, he really does that a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. So moving along, there's the final sort of flashback scene thing, like time travel bit is there's like the dumb gag of the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy when Peter's singing into the rat. They have like people watching him like looking.
Yeah, we go to the end or the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014, and this one's special because it has two teams going back to this timeline. Mm-hmm. We have Black Widow and Hawkeye. They're going back to the past, to the planet Thanos went to get the Soul Stone, Vormir. They're going back in 2014 where they know that the Soul Stone's still there. And
Nebula and Rhodey go to Morag to get
or stay.
What?
Oh, they
yeah. They stay on Morag to get the Power Stone. And so they do. They just kind of they clock.
Real easy.
Yeah, real easy. They clock, which is like very emblematic about how easy it was to get it in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like there was nothing stopping you.
They just kind of went up, knocked out Star-Lord, took the stone. But the complications come here is we cut to Thanos in 2014. Looking very different than he would a couple hours later in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Nebula and Gamora, they're like sparring, or no, they're fighting some other things, and Gamora saves Nebula, which of course pisses Nebula off. This is before they, all their development.
Yeah, this is and this is before they both split from Thanos.
Yeah.
And so they're still, working together, with a lot of just sort of like, resentment, brewing up. And so when the problem arises that when, after they grab the Power Stone, when Nebula tries to go back with Rhodey goes just fine, but because of some sort of
the neural link, but
like some sort of neural link, because they're both like on the same, because they're both cyborgs. I guess they have some sort of wireless network. Because they're connected. She has a harder time going back to the future. She has a hard time, just going like right back, and she just kind of gets like a splitting headache. There's some sparks coming out of her eyeball. But Nebula actually gets a little like. Do you remember in Infinity War when the memory files were accessed when Gamora told Nebula that she had found the Soul Stone and like burned the map?
Yep.
It was like that again, except it was the future Nebula's memory. Future Nebula's memory of talking to Rhodey a little bit, and so they're like, so she gets like threatened. It's so sad seeing Nebula like because she doesn't know what that is, and she doesn't like. She's not like conspiring against Thanos, but like the fucking fear in her eyes is like it's palpable.
It is. This leads to one of my favorite scenes from the movie, because Thanos kind of just is looking through the memory files of Nebula, and Nebula was there at the start of the movie when Thanos gets killed, and he looks at that, and he is unwavering. He does not react to it at all.
No, he's not shaken. He's like, he sees himself get his own head chopped off, and he's like, "Yep, that's destiny for you.
That's my destiny. I did what I wanted to."
The thing he takes from it is, "Oh shit, I succeed. This is gonna work. I'm gonna like," and it's not even like a whoa moment. It's a yeah, I knew this was gonna happen moment. It was very good.
Very good. Well, then Rhodey goes back to the future, and Nebula just kind of passes out.
Yeah.
Then Thanos grabs her. Or no, she comes back. She goes to the Milano, or some kind of ship.
No, yeah, she goes to the ship, and she gets beamed up.
Taken prisoner by Thanos.
And so now there's like one Gamora, one Thanos, two Nebulas.
Yup. Nebula the past Gamora disguises herself as present Gamora and goes to the future. But we won't deal with that until a little while later.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up when you think about it. How War Machine and the others did not notice she was gone.
Well, it's weird. I'm pretty sure they show them all getting back at the same point.
Like, yeah, around, and they're like, "All right, good job, guys."
Yeah, and it's like,
and nobody's like,
I guess they're all trying to go at a fixed point in time, so that would like
missing one, or I guess they're missing two. That's another thing. So no, she's taken prisoner. Let's catch up with with Clint and Natasha for a minute, because they did not know what they were getting themselves into.
They really didn't. This one had the most stress because us, the audience, knows what the Soul Stone requires.
And then once you realize who's going into it, you know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Soul Stone requires you to sacrifice not yourself. You must sacrifice that which you love, a person that is important to you, a soul for a soul. And the Red Skull guides them to that point. Neither of them recognize him, which is like good, but like, God, I can't help but think what Captain America would feel if he was there.
I don't think that is. I was thinking. I remember that bothering me because I was thinking like, well, you guys are SHIELD agents. I know you guys never encountered him, but there was never a photo or a drawing or anything.
Well, maybe, but maybe they did. I would imagine that they wouldn't make that connection to the weird floaty red guy if they hadn't met him. Like Steve would know right away. And so I was like,
they still don't like do. They didn't really do anything with that.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like there.
I'm sure I'm sure they wouldn't have brought him back if they didn't have plans for him in some way. I mean, they have a great new actor to play him now. Ross Marquand of Walking Dead fame. He played Aaron. He plays Aaron. And so it gets to the point where they realize what they have to do. And they have a brief fight scene over because
Who's
they're
dying?
Who's dying. Hawkeye believes it should be him, but Black Widow disagrees slightly and believes that it should in fact possibly be her.
And this had a lot of this was very tense because there's really, if you're going to, it was kind of hard to tell who was going to die at first.
I was like having a feeling, like I assumed it was going to be Hawkeye in the moment, but I understood. But like, okay, so let's just come out right out and say it. They get to a scene. They get to a point when Hawkeye jumps off the cliff. Natasha tackles him out of the air and shoots her little grappling hook thing from the Winter Soldier into the wall and just kind of like holds it there. And so they're fine. But it's the point Clint's above her, and so she's like, trips up a bit, and Clint kind of catches her and is holding her, and she's like, and so there's the part like she was like, she tells him like, you have to let me go. It's something to that extent. And he does. He, with massive tears in his eyes, Hawkeye lets Black Widow fall to her death. And it was they
Real
played
sad.
the same. Yeah, it echoed it. I believe they did play the same music and have sort of the same kind of shots as the scene from
Infinity War, with Gamora's death.
Yeah, with Gamora's death. And I did like the detail of him letting her go, because that epitomizes what the Soul Stone requires. It requires not a sacrifice of yourself, but someone needs to sacrifice something that someone that is extremely close to them. And it's sort of it's a very powerful scene, because Hawkeye's been through so fucking much.
Yeah. But he wakes up, he has the Soul Stone, and he gets back. There should be said that since Iron Man and Ant-Man failed to get the Tesseract, there's a further flashback scene where they go even further into like the 70s. It's like a fun kind of Winter Soldier callback scene.
Yeah, Winter Soldier callback. Yeah, they get to you get to see young Hank Pym, Howard Stark, when Maria Stark is just getting pregnant with Tony. And so basically, weirdly, Tony and Howard kind of like spend like a day, like an afternoon,
Yeah.
When they they get the stone, they get the Pym particles. Captain America stares creepily at Peggy Carter through a window.
Listen, man, it's a movie. Just weirdly, watching women stalking women is love.
Oh, right. I forgot.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you for reminding me that's how popular culture works.
There's lots of good stuff, but it's all like great, just real good dialogue and acting bouncing off each other. But they do get the Tesseract.
Yeah. Okay. One thing I do want to say about this, I popped so hard for this, even though I shouldn't have. When Howard Stark is leaving, he's just in his limo thing. You get to see his butler, Edwin Jarvis, played by James Darcy from the fucking Agent Carter TV show. I popped so hard for that because I believe that might be the first character to have been introduced in a TV show to show up in the movies. Just like that's all I need. Just little background characters, from the TV shows just showing up in the background of things. That's my shit. That's what we need.
It would have been. There was a real good opportunity for at least some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Representation later, but they just didn't do it.
Yeah.
The lack of Coulson in this movie felt. I felt it. I felt like it.
You needed him. This was the time.
Yeah, he started the Avengers. He's the reason. He's the reason the Avengers first assembled.
Him showing up. Well, I mean, given the way the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ended, Coulson obviously died again.
I didn't know. I did not know that. I'm not caught up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Coulson, it's fine.
Coulson dies at the end of season 5.
Awesome.
Whatever. They released a fucking the trailer because they thought they were getting canceled. The season they got renewed for 2 more seasons. And they released a trailer where he's back. So he's not dead again. He cheats death one more time. Whatever.
I guess that's a reason.
Yeah. But you could have had Daisy, Deathlock, Mac, just some of the other characters in the final battle, but they didn't.
Or just footage from the show. Just footage in the show from like showing that there's these agents. I don't know, something.
Yeah.
Well, it's a shame.
Yeah. I'm a very big Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, so
Dems the bricks when you're on the fucking small screen.
Yeah, dems the bricks. So yeah, they make their way back to the present. And sort of.
That's not nearly as fun to say. Back to the present? That sucks.
It does suck. Back to the future!
There we go.
Alright, they make their way back to the future. And Tony Stark has designed his own Iron Man themed Infinity Gauntlet, which was cool as fuck.
It was very cool. He had to make it red and gold.
Yeah, get those hot rod colors in.
Meanwhile, Nebula.
No, yeah, well, Nebula has been kidnapped and is getting sort of interrogated, and so she tells Gamora about the relationship that they eventually had and what they reached.
While past Gamora, who's actually in present.
No, she's not in the present yet.
No, they're all when they're all back and unveiling.
No, they're not in the present yet. Just go with me here, okay? So basically, back on because while they are it basically when because there's this big debate between the Avengers of who's gonna put on the Infinity Gauntlet. Thor wants to do it as a way to atone for his mistakes, but he is in absolutely no condition to do that. And so he said, and there's an interesting fact about the Infinity Stones. He said the radiation is mostly gamma.
The Hulk does, yeah.
Yeah, the Hulk just says kind of like it feels to him like I was made for this, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
I actually really like that. And so as he puts on the gauntlet and is about to and it really fucks him up.
Yeah, but
yeah, I'm just kind of burns it. And while this is going on, the Thanos found because they took Nebula's little hand bracelet and as a way to sort of they're like because Thanos has realized, oh shit, in the future they're trying to undo what I did in the future. I have to stop them.
Right, and that's why past Gamora, who is in the present, goes to the time machine and summons Thanos' ship.
Mm-hmm. Well, no. It was that was
or Nebula. Did I say?
Yeah. They say they send present Nebula, past Nebula. They send past Nebula to the future. They send past Nebula to the present to open up the little time portal thing, to suck in the Sanctuary 2, which is Thanos' warship.
So as the snap happens, Thanos.
As the snap happens, to save, it's another snap to restore. On Tony's request, not to undo everything. They have to keep what they got, but also bring back what they lost. And so they do the big under snap thing, and right when they do that, Thanos' ship just crashes out of the Avengers headquarters. And somehow they don't notice it.
And it's real. I really like this because it's the mirror to the snap in Infinity War, and it's handled the same way. Silence until Hawkeye sees his phone, and you just hear the phone call, and it's such an. I really like that. Just like, because they're far away from everyone, they would not feel the effects. But somebody reaching out to them, it's like, oh, we've done it. And it's a real nice moment for a second.
For 1 second, until their place gets bombed to living hell.
Yeah, and Thanos bombs them, completely just decimated. Half the Avengers are all split up from this. Rhodey, whose armor stops working, which is real bad.
Which sucks for him because he kind of he's still kind of
paralyzed from the waist down.
Yeah, he's still kind of paralyzed from the waist down, so he's like just like crawling through the water.
He's with, and I popped for this way, like really big, Hulk, who's doing the classic Secret Wars holding up the mountain thing.
Mm-hmm.
Holding the entire mountain.
You're right.
Yep.
That is what that was. I didn't know that.
I was freaking out about it because that was one of the classic like Marvel images that we had yet to see, and we got it, and I was so happy that he finally got to see it. And it's him and Rocket. Rocket's really, it really impressed me how freaked out Rocket is here. He's like stumbling over all his words. He's freaking out. He's like, I don't want to drown. I don't want to drown. I don't want to drown. And I was like, man, that's really like. It was just kind of like a neat little moment that he's freaking out like the most out of everyone here.
And you can see Rhodey sort of like taking a piece of rebar and like prying the debris off of Rocket's legs.
Hawkeye gets sent. He's isolated. He's all by himself because fuck Hawkeye. He's has to always have the highest stakes. Also, the Infinity Gauntlet, the Iron Gauntlet,
falls right by him.
So he has the biggest responsibility, and also Thanos' personal xenomorphs are chasing him. So again,
those were Sakarans, like a race of these sort of like insectoid like animal things from Sakaar.
Were they? I thought they were just like his Outrider things from the
Wakanda battle. Maybe they were Outriders. It was
because they looked more like xenomorphs, like those things did to me.
Yeah. Maybe it was the Outrider. And so we're approaching the and so. Yeah, basically, Thanos just kind of sends down. He opens up his sort of general forces, and he gets down there with the two his I think with the Black Order and his daughters, and he's like, okay, what are we gonna do here, right? He's like, I'm just gonna sit here and he just like sits. The Thanos sit. And he's like, I'm just gonna wait.
Thanos sit. He sits. Sends Nebula to be like, hey, I know you're not going to betray me like that other Nebula did. And to prove that, you're going to get me the Infinity Gauntlet. And it's a real like abusive dad, like give me my beer, like kind of moment.
This is the most parental I have felt Thanos feel.
And as you would expect, it's very disturbing. And so we have Nebula also searching for the gauntlet. And let's follow that track to its conclusion. Because that kind of ties in. Hawkeye's has like a cool action scene where he's running off from the horde of the Outriders. It eventually leads him to running into to Nebula, who takes the past one, who's still disguised as the present one, takes the gauntlet, then reveals, hey, I'm evil. And then, meanwhile, while this has happened, present Nebula has kind of gotten through to Gamora.
Because I mean, at this point, Gamora was about to turn on Thanos anyway.
Yeah, and kind of like we were sisters. We actually became like real sisters.
You can see that in her heart, she really wanted that.
Yeah. So present Nebula and past Gamora run into past Nebula and Hawkeye, and it's this like kind of like it's the standoff. Eventually, they try and talk past Nebula into being like, well, you don't need to do this. He doesn't really care about you. You don't need to like.
No, but she's so obsessed with
getting his approval,
getting his approval, and getting his favor because she still hasn't really gotten it. She's
start of Guardians of the Galaxy Nebula. She's nowhere even close to end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Nebula.
Yeah.
So the only way
or Endgame Nebula.
Oh yeah.
Or Infinity War Nebula.
Yeah. So the only way
they can get through her is to get through her.
Yeah, kill her. Yeah, Nebula kills Nebula.
Wait, did Gamora kill Nebula or did Nebula kill Nebula?
It was Nebula who killed Nebula.
Whoa.
And it was like, whoa, that's a statement. Yeah. Meanwhile, this has happened. We get the scene that we've, the Trinity, the big three, Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. They all go.
And the fourth member, Edward Norton, as the Hulk. And the franchise that he got.
Yeah.
Sorry, just had to.
No. But you see this? Thor has Stormbringer and Mjolnir.
Yeah, he calls them both. He calls both Stormbreaker and Mjolnir, and it's fucking cool.
He calls down the lightning and gets in his full Thor costume for the first time. A little extra large this time, but
it still looked good on him.
It still looked good. It didn't look stupid.
Yeah, and he had because he had a big beard and he had like the long hair back on.
Yeah.
But he when the thing it braided his beard into like a Viking kind of braid thing, which was really
nice. That's nice of the lightning.
Yeah, thanks, lightning.
But we get a real cool walk in. They weirdly showed it in a TV spot, which was like weird.
Yeah, I didn't see any of those.
I saw that one because that was like the first big one, and I remember hearing it was important, and I saw it, and I was like, okay. It didn't detract from the scene, but it was like, oh, it's weird. They show something this late. The three of them just like fight Thanos, and it's a great fight. It's it's actually pretty rare to see like a big action scene where Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor are all like participating in the same like scuffle.
Yeah,
it's like
when was the last time we saw that?
The only real I can think of the first time where we saw the three of them fight, and it can't be. I can't.
Maybe it was like.
I think there was
what?
one. No, because there's no big fight between them and Ultron.
No, there is. When they're fighting the Ultron.
Like they're fighting all the, but I'm talking about like a big fight where it's like the three guys either fighting each other, one like foe, or like, because that's the whole team working together.
Yeah.
I think this might be the only real action scene with all three of them, just kind of like working together.
Yeah. It's real cathartic.
It's real cathartic. They do a bunch of cool like tag team moves.
And then should we? Possibly the biggest pop of the movie.
Thanos has Thor. They've kind of separated off, and
basically, and in a little callback to Infinity War, that when Thor threw Stormbreaker into Thanos' chest, and was just kind of pushing the axe into it. The situation was reversed, where Thanos had picked up Stormbreaker and was just kind of burying, like starting to like push it like a little bit closer into Thor's chest. And then
Mjolnir comes and hits Thanos away, and you're like, huh? What's going? Thor? Well, it comes back. Cap grabs it.
Captain America is worthy.
It was one of those things where I completely, set up. It was a big comic book payoff move. We love it every time Captain America gets to use Mjolnir. And it was a good setup from Age of Ultron. Perfectly done. Supreme bit of fan service.
Yeah.
And we get a big cool fight between Captain America and Thanos, or Captain America's wielding Mjolnir.
Yeah, Mjolnir. He like summons he like twirls it around, calls the fucking lightning down. The whole 9 yards. It's really cathartic.
But then Thanos beats him up and like,
oh yeah,
and destroys the shield.
Yeah, no. What the fuck? That leaves a question. What the fuck was that like double like knife thing, sword, whatever? Man, cool. What the fuck is that made of?
That's strong alien metal.
Fuck, is it like beat up? It like destroyed vibranium.
There's a point he like big overhead chop into the shield, and it's in there, and then and just from there he just keeps pounding it away, and the shield is wrecked.
Yeah.
And you get that big, real cool shot where you see where Captain America gets up from the floor, total Infinity Gauntlet homage. Everyone's gone. Gets some harsh, or zips up shield and faces Thanos. And Thanos is like, "Bruh, stay down. Do you see? You see this big ship? You see why this ship's so big?
He can do this all day.
I got a freaking army with me." And Captain America sits there, and then
this is the shit that I have always wanted to see. I've been like thought about this for a while. Thanos at the height of his power, because he sent Loki to captain the Chitauri forces, which was a shitload of his army. And so now since the other has not been killed yet by Ronan.
Mm-hmm.
He still has command over the entire fucking Chitauri, the Chitauri army.
Yep. He has the Chitauri army, he has the Black Order, he has his like Outriders. It's a full thing. And, people meme on the big Marvel Grey Army, but this time, it felt way more earned. Especially
it felt so much more earned.
Like than something like Age of Ultron.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's Captain America facing this entire army, not wavering, and then you hear Sam. You hear Sam go, "Horny and Captain, on your left."
Oh, such a good callback.
Such a good callback. Captain America looks, and a sling ring portal.
Yeah.
Sling rings.
I love them so much.
And T'Challa, Shuri, and Okoye come out.
Yeah, and
then
it's so good.
Yeah, Sam flies through.
So I love the fact that Black Panther was the one to lead the charge there.
Yep, he got the whole army unified and really quick, way quicker than you think.
Yeah, he got apparently. So like I was looking this up on the wiki earlier. And yeah, they got everyone.
They got the whole MCU comes. Everyone who was in Infinity War, people who weren't the entire your magic order and Doctor Strange, the armies of Wakanda. I think there were Nova Corps members there. I think there were
No. The Ravagers were fucking there.
The Ravengers. There were and you get your big. They fight.
Yeah, it's like the big scale battle. Yeah, so basically,
it's the big moment in a BioWare game where you've been collecting armies for the entire game, and then you finally get to see them.
Yeah. So so the Dora Milaje and all the the Border Tribe, and the Wakandan Royal Guard are all there. So are like Doctor Strange's and like ones like the Masters of the Mystic Arts.
Yeah.
The sorcery team actually doing their jobs for once.
Yep. The Guardians.
The Guardians of the Galaxy all come in. What's left of the Asgardians, led by Val on a Pegasus.
That was real cool.
I fought so hard for that. And the fucking Ravagers were there too, which was cool.
And it's like,
I wonder if Sylvester Stallone was in the fight somewhere.
Probably not. And it's just cool fight. There's a bunch of cool spots in the fight where we could talk about.
Yeah, we can't really. No, they all charge, and we get the iconic line that they've been teasing us with for so long.
Ant-Man getting big.
No, that was awesome. No, but Captain America just screams, "Avengers assemble!" and they all fucking charge at Thanos' army. Thanos points his army, runs after them. Ant-Man's buried under a bunch of things. He was doing something, I forget, but he grows really, really big and starts running in with them, which was so cool.
Eventually Thanos starts calling out an air raid onto the battle.
Yeah, he starts raining down hell from his warship.
And Captain Marvel comes in.
And yeah, Captain Marvel comes out from space like a fucking meteor, and just what killed the dinosaurs? Captain, because she barrels right through Sanctuary 2.
The key narrative in the fight is that the Infinity Gauntlet's still there, and Thanos is trying to grab it. Yeah,
Thanos is trying to get his hands on the Infinity Gauntlet because he realized through this whole thing he had a moment where he's like, I kind of I get it now. I can wipe out half the universe, but they're all still not going to be able to move on from that. So I'm just going to get rid of all the universe and just make a new one because he's God.
Yep.
And so first Hawkeye has it, and he's running around the battlefield, shooting people, cutting people with his sword. And then another neat callback to this time to Civil War. Black Panther runs up to him and calls him as, "Hey, Clint, give it to me," because he was told, in Civil War, "We haven't met yet. I'm Clint." And then Black Panther says, "I don't care," but now he fucking cares.
What they're trying to do is get rid of all send all the stones back away from Thanos. The time machine was destroyed, but again, Ant-Man here, the hero of this fucking movie, he pulls out his keys, honks them, and his van is there.
The La Cucaracha, it's so good.
And they need to get back to their hair. Him and Hope get the van running.
to sort of like send them back to their own times.
And they almost do it. A bunch of heroes are playing hot potato with the
first like Hawkeye has it. He passes it to Black Panther. Black Panther does like a big like expulsion of energy, jumps it around, hands it like passes it to Spider-Man. Spider-Man's running around. He's about to get picked up. He shoots his web onto Valkyrie's flying horse. Hops on there. They're flying around. It's real good stuff.
It's real good. Then Captain Marvel comes and she has like a brawl with Thanos. Which is real cool.
Yeah, it looks like she's having an easier time resisting. Sort of like how when Scarlet Witch was able to sort of fight back against Thanos for a bit.
Yeah.
It's like the same sort of thing where she's not winning, but she's fighting back. And there's one part where you think, oh, maybe she can do it. But then Thanos reaches into the gauntlet, grabs the Power Stone out with his hand, and he's always holding it in his hand like when Ronan did it. And then just punches her dead in the fucking head.
Yeah.
Blast.
At this point, Captain Marvel was given the gauntlet. She was flying back to the van, but then Thanos destroyed the van,
he took his little sword, double-handed sword thing and just threw it. And just impaled the Ant Van. Which is sad because the Ant Van is really good.
Yeah, and
I will miss the Ant Van.
So it's oh no, what do we do? So we come to Iron Man, who had talked to Doctor Strange about is this the one? Doctor Strange was I can't tell you. But then later he kind of just gives him one on his finger, and
and we should mention really it was a very good emotional reunion between Tony and Peter.
Yeah, it was
when he came back. That was just to just the shock on Tony's face, and him being like, "Hey, Mr. Stark, it was so weird. I was turned to dust back there when I wasn't feeling so good, but now I woke up, and then the wizard told me that it was 5 years later, and we had to go save you. So here I am." And he's just because Peter's such a motor mouth, right?
Yeah.
And Tony just stops to just give him a big hug, and it's aw, it's sweet. It's really sweet.
Yeah. So it comes back down to Tony and Thanos. That they have a little scrap. It's really not a fight.
Well, there is the brief bit with Scarlet Witch.
There is that. But I didn't want to get into that.
Well, we should at least talk before we get into the ending of it. The badass fucking all female Avengers moment.
Yeah, it was a cool moment. Got to see all the female Avengers. I've heard, I enjoyed it while I was watching it. I've heard a lot of interesting, actual conversation about that scene.
About entailing what does that entail?
More a lot of female critics being not really necessary because this movie's very good. And it's very it's MCU's progressively getting more progressive. But it did. One thing that I had I like the scene, but I had mixed feelings about is killing Scarlet Witch because it was a classic fridging.
You mean killing Black Widow?
Or yeah, killing Black Widow, and then killing the only member of the original Avengers who was female, and then having this big moment with all the female
women
characters. When none of them really got much, most of them were either dead or not around. And
yes, that's true. But also, I feel like it's,
it's a fun little scene that clearly Marvel's interested in, or is test running these scenes like this and in the one in Infinity War to like see if they want female Avengers would be like a good idea.
And I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I wouldn't be at all. I like all these characters. I think they could have some cool dynamics.
Yeah. And a small little note. Pepper Potts is now a superhero. She is rescue. And that suit looks fucking kick ass.
Yep. But that was a neat scene. He and just kind of from like an action standpoint, I really liked it. There's yeah, they're at the end.
Yeah, we're at the end game. We've been at the end game, but here we are.
We have. Thanos has been kind of wrestling. Thanos and Iron Man are kind of tussle with each other. It almost looks like things are like screwed because Thanos has the gauntlet on. Tony can't get it away from him. Thanos goes to snap, and there's too much grease. He can't snap. And,
no!
He's just like quits.
And that's basically, there's a little bit where he sort of Thanos kind of bat away with like the back of his hand. He kind of sort of Tony's palm, and then he's like, "Ha! I have you. You're now mine." And he does the snap. It doesn't work. He looks at it. He snaps again. It doesn't work. He looks. All the Infinity Stones are gone. All the Infinity Stones are gone. He's like, "What?" And he looks over, and you know, because Tony's suit is
like nanomachines and magnets and magic.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can meld and create things. So it's created. Like the Infinity Stones are in his fucking hand as the suit is the Infinity Gauntlet, and he's like coursing with the power. And Thanos had just said, "I am inevitable," and Tony's like, "No, yeah, well, I am Iron Man," which is of course a line that's very synonymous with that
iconic
character. It was the final line of the original. Other than the post-credit scene, it was the final line of the original Iron Man.
He snaps.
He snaps his finger. There's boom. All of Thanos's army is reduced to nothing.
Thanos looks at it. He's seeing everything. All his plans go up in dust. He sits down, and he lets it happen to him.
Yeah, he's like. Yeah, he doesn't. He's no pouting. There's no whining. There's no fighting back. He just lets it go.
And it's been established. Unlike in the comics, the Infinity Gauntlet really will hurt you when you're using it. You need to be incredibly strong. Thanos could snap. Hulk. It was only really Hulk or Thor could have really done it and lived. Tony's. Completely.
I don't think Thor would have lived. I'm gonna be. I think he would have died.
I think he could have done it just because of he had like the Odin powers that he got like from Ragnarok. He got. He was
maybe peak Thor, but not this Thor.
I think Asgard. I think that he could have done it, but it's like not worth
No, and like. Past this, Bruce has had his arm in a sling for the whole thing from handling it.
Yeah, so Tony's fucking dead.
Yeah,
he's half charred. He sits down, and he's surrounded. Rhodey meets him, which I was really happy that Rhodey got to be there first. Then it was Peter. Then it was Pepper. She says, "You did it," and finally rest, and he does, and. Get a funeral scene.
Yeah, there's the big funeral scene.
Everyone's there.
Everyone who's like ever known him.
All of Hollywood is there.
Basically. Interesting to see Michael Douglas there because Hank Pym because obviously he had a bone to pick with the Starks.
He was a real asshole about it. You were like, he literally brought you back to life, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean that's true, but at the same time, when has Hank Pym
Exactly. He was a real cool.
But no, not to be petty, you know?
He was, he was like talked into it. Janet was like, really?
Yeah, Janet's there. Michelle Pfeiffer's cool. Would have liked to see her do cool shit in the battle, but I suppose we'll save that for Ant-Man 3.
The kid from Iron Man 3 is
Harley Keener. Yeah, they got Ty Simpkins back to do a. He looks a lot different.
He really does.
Yeah,
Man, Iron Man 3 was a while ago.
Yeah, the Avengers, the Guardians of the Galaxy were there.
You get a big speech from a video he recorded, mostly to his daughter, which was real sweet.
Yeah, and there's a little moment with Happy Hogan, sort of comforting and taking care of the kid. Okay, and she asks for, like, are you hungry? And he asks her what she wants to eat, and she says a cheeseburger. Which, oh man, that one hit me in the gut, because that's the first thing that Tony asked for when he got back from the cave in Iron Man. Is he wanted a cheeseburger.
It was all, and it's real. It was really heart.
Yeah, it was really heartfelt. They sort of they floated off into the ocean the original arc reactor that he had made in the cave with the engraving on it that said proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
Exactly.
And boy did he prove it.
We get kind of a return to King style. A couple endings on Thor makes Valkyrie the queen of Asgard, and he joins the Guardians. A really funny scene.
Yeah. Thor in Guardians 3 as a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy is really exciting.
And that would have been a real sad scene, Ian, if we didn't know of James coming back.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck yeah. Oh
yeah.
My God.
I was thinking, I'm like, man, this scene would have played way different
if they hadn't brought him back. If he just stayed fired. Yeah,
because we would have been like, oh, damn it. But no, we're hyped. Guardians
3 hype.
It is. Is there another one in between, like the big last one? Or I swear I'm like forgetting something.
Yeah, me too.
But I can't.
I can't. I'm sorry. There is some. I believe there is something
in between. Yeah. Like there's a small scene with I forget. With the real hero of the movie.
Oh.
Where him and Hope are sitting there with now adult Cassie, which, man, we're all in the future. All sequels will have to be 5 years in the future. We're not going back on that. The MCU is no longer in sync with real time.
Yeah, that's gonna get real confusing, isn't it?
Nah, it won't be. That's fine. It's a real cool thing. I guess. Yeah. But it ended with the.
I can't wait for Spider-Man: Homecoming to be set. Remember?
Yeah. The ending. They chose the right scene to end on.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers.
He takes Mjolnir and the Infinity Stone, and they built another time machine of it.
Hulk's there, Sam's there, and Bucky's. They're all there. Like, Sam off. They're like, "Hey, do you want us to come with you?" He's like, "Nah, I'm good." Explain. Cash should be back within 5 minutes. And he goes. He travels back, and 5 minutes happen. They try and tether him back. Doesn't come back. And I thought, oh, okay, that's it. He doesn't come back, and that's that's like a mission.
They leave it ambiguous.
But no, Sam and Bucky are like talking, and they notice there's a guy sitting sitting
On a
there,
bench.
wasn't before, and Sam walks up, and it's Steve, and he's old. He's around. He's almost 200 years old at this point.
Yeah, he looks a lot like Bill Clinton.
Yep. He basically says, "Yeah, I returned everything, and then I thought I'm gonna have my life. I'm gonna go live with Peggy Carter."
In the mid 50s. So it's really funny because at the end of the Agent Carter TV show, she finally she gets over him, and not fully, but she has the big kiss with the other guy. I like to imagine that Steve walked in right then and there at the end of that scene, being like, "Hey,
I'm back," and she's like, "Oh, thank God."
Cuck that guy.
But yeah, and Sam's like, "Well, good for you. I'm just sad. I'm gonna live in a world without Captain America." And Steve goes, "Well, that doesn't have to be true." And he pulls out pulls out a shield, pulls out his shield, and gives it to Sam, and goes, give it a shot. So Sam Wilson is your new Captain America.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm happy.
It's exciting. That TV show is going to be it's my most anticipated thing on the Disney Plus network. I hope he gets his own movie. I think he will. I think Anthony Mackie certainly has a lot of potential. Well, it's just a real exciting. It's such a exciting development.
Yeah. Also, I'm just gonna say it. Kind of a dick move for Tony not to take Buck with him. Just a little bit.
I guess so.
I'm sure he would have wanted his life back. I mean, he probably wouldn't have lived, but the whole time. But also kind of.
I guess it does. Bucky could be like, "Hey, I get some of that." After, but you have a metal arm, dude, and weird, yeah. I guess we did get out all the programming in you, but you never know. Don't think we should send him back.
Yeah, well,
Not sure. But yeah, we end. And no post-credit scene, other than
nope, that's it.
You hear some hammer banging some iron, which is probably supposed to be in reference to the first Iron Man movie.
Yeah. It could mean something wildly different later down on the.
Yeah, but I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, first Marvel movie without an end credit. Very appropriate.
So, overall thoughts?
Movie good.
Yeah, movie great.
Yeah.
I loved it. I think about how to, obviously this isn't a perfect movie. It has things you could nitpick for days.
Of course, and we have only seen it the one time.
We've only seen it the one time.
So I plan to go back and see it as soon as I'm financially I'm financially able, and I can clear up my obligations. But I mean, you know how it be. Yeah. This was I'm not gonna put this in an MCU ranking yet because I don't feel like my opinions on it are fully solidified. But what a fucking conclusion! This is I don't think you can come into this being oh, I wanted this if this was the end, right?
This was the
end game.
And it really felt like it. Again, it's a great conclusion to everything. Everyone got their send off. It leaves so much potential for the future. Yeah. So many great performances. The history makes this. The history that the MCU has made, informs it. The Russo brothers did such a great job. And it, I didn't want it to end. I wanted it to keep going on. It felt like it felt like saying goodbye to a bunch of old friends.
Yeah.
Like a going away party.
Yeah, Tony's dead, Black Widow's dead, Steve's gonna be out of relevancy for a while. There was like one little scene of him back to him going back and like having a little house and finally having his dance that he promised Peggy, and that was really sweet.
So yeah, I thought this movie was great. Really enjoyable. I think I enjoyed it more than Infinity War.
I don't know. I really liked Infinity War, so I have to give it a thought. I don't know yet. I will get back. But yeah, this has a lot of implications for the future of the MCU. Obviously, Thor's joined the Guardians of the Galaxy. We have a new Captain America. Captain Marvel in the present.
Marvel in the present. Cassie Lang, who's adult.
Adult. Dude, she's like fucking 7 years old. It's weird. He deadass aged more than Captain America.
She really did. Which, young Avengers potentially. Even seeing like the kid from Iron Man 3.
Yeah. I mean,
Pepper has an armor, even though I don't think that'll be.
Yeah, well, Morgan, Stark.
Yep.
We'll see how that turns out. There's a ton of shit that can be done.
Yeah, we have and the MCU, we don't, for the first time in a long time, we don't have really a big idea on like the movies we're getting or what's going to happen. I'm sure that'll change around like Comic-Con.
Yeah, the only officially announced movie coming up after this is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
They have talked officially about Shang-Chi.
Have they?
Yeah.
Well, I know, and I know they have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is all. It has yet to be officially announced technically, but we all know it's coming.
Yeah. And Eternals, which is the new franchise that they're talking a lot about.
Yeah. I still think that might be a cover-up. And that may be a cover project for X-Men or Fantastic Four.
It isn't. I'm sorry to say.
I want Fantastic Four. I really do.
Me too. I really do. With the Fox deal, we have a lot of possibilities lined up.
I can wait on X-Men for a phase. If it was X-Men, that's like dope. I'm hyped for it. But like gives me my Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it'd be.
Yeah. So like, there's like, now that there's almost the possibilities are almost limitless for Marvel now. They have now that they're free from the shackles of this big cinematic plan. They're obviously going to have to do something to follow that up. I mean, who knows? Who knows where they go? But I'm excited to keep watching these.
What do you want from the MCU after this? I guess you said Fantastic Four, but
yeah, Fantastic Four. I want. It's just gonna sound weird, but I don't really care. I just want good movie story, and Kevin Feige, Louis D'Esposito, and all the people over at Marvel Studios have built up such a repertoire, and such a great amount of respect from everyone who watches their movies. I almost don't care thinking about what they have planned next, because I'm very confident that it's going to be good, and it's going to be worth watching. And this is maybe the end, but it's also a new beginning.
Right.
So yeah, I'm really excited. What do you think? Do you have any things on your wish list for Marvel?
Desires? I want. What I really want is while we wait for them to finalize whatever they have for Fantastic Four and X-Men, I want the MCU to kind of like relax, It's been go back to more phase one in style movies, and I'm sure that's kind of what it seems like they're building up with Shang-Chi, Eternals, and continuing the franchises that they've recently started.
Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Captain Marvel,
finishing up Guardians,
Ant-Man,
and so what I would really like, Black Widow, whatever that's going to be.
Yeah, this is so interesting because there are writers, directors. I believe there is a Black Widow script. Will it be a prequel? Is she alive? We don't know.
I don't think they want to. I think they want a franchise. I don't think they want one Black Widow flashback movie, and I don't want a flashback movie.
Well, it could just be like a, yeah. I hope the slate comes out and they do something with her, because Scarlett Johansson was the most surprising departure, because she is, obviously we Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans have mentioned before how they're not they re-signed all their contracts to get to this. This is the end. So they feel pretty done.
Yep. But it doesn't feel Black Widow didn't feel like she was done.
Yeah, she's got places to go. They could kill her. They did not bring back Vision. But he's done. He's done for good.
I mean, no. Vision's the one I know will come back, not just because of the show, but because Vision dying and coming back as a weird emotionless version of himself is one of the most famous Vision stories, and they tease it after Infinity War.
Yeah,
with him going all colorless. So I'm sure that's what that the WandaVision show will be about.
Marvel's got the sky's the limit for Marvel right now. Yeah. Really excited to see what they go. Anything else you want to talk?
No, give me Young Avengers, cowards.
Give me 5 more. Give Dre 5 more.
Yes.
Next year.
Yes. Cancel Far From Home and give me more Ant-Man.
Actually,
have Far From Home come out, people walk in theaters, and then it's an Ant-Man.
Please.
Ant-Man at home.
Ant-Man close to home.
Yup.
And by close, I mean and in his home.
Yup.
Oh
man. Yeah.
All right, that's gonna do it for this episode. This special surprise episode of the Geeks by Gaslight Podcast, Endgame edition. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks to all our producers and everything. Follow us on Twitter, subscribe, leave a comment, like, share, reblog, retweet, tickle my balls.
No!
Sorry, I had to slide that one in there. No, but seriously, thanks for listening. Catch y'all later. Until next time, take it easy, nerds.